Okay, so let's unpack this. We always seem to focus on the main heroes, the ones with the most screen time, the biggest
The
fights.
ones with the highest titles at the end.
Exactly. But sometimes the real story, the deepest wisdom, it comes from the people on the sidelines, the mentors.
Precisely. And we're doing a deep dive today into the source material you sent over, which is all about this one fascinating character from Investiture of the Gods.
The Ming Dynasty classic Feng Xinyani.
That's the one, and we're talking about Yuding Zhenren.
And the mission today isn't just to, list his accomplishments. It's to figure out why. Why is this one master who you honestly don't see that much in this story?
Right, compared to the others.
Why is he almost always called the greatest teacher of them all? It's a paradox, really. Maximum influence, minimum screen time.
It really is, and our job is to understand how his very unique and strict style of mentorship created one of the most famous deities in all of Chinese mythology,
Yang Jian.
who you probably know better as Erlang Shen. He is the result. He's the proof that defines the master.
That's such a compelling dynamic. It suggests that maybe real mastery isn't measured by what you do for yourself, but by how high you can lift your students.
And for context, it's crucial to establish just who Yuding Zhenren is. The source confirms his pedigree right away. He's one of the 12 Golden Immortals of the Explaining Doctrine, the Changjiao.
Which puts him right at the top of the spiritual food chain in this story.
Absolutely, the spiritual aristocracy.
And the Explaining Doctrine, that's a really important detail, isn't it? The whole novel is basically this giant war between them and the Intercepting Doctrine.
That's completely right. The Explaining Doctrine, which is led by Yuanqi Tanzin, was all about quality over quantity, elite discipleship, very high standards.
And the Intercepting Doctrine.
Much more egalitarian. Its leader would take disciples from pretty much anywhere, humans, spirit beasts, you name it. So this huge ideological clash is the backdrop for the whole war. Yuding Zhenren is on the side of the establishment, the most exclusive lineage.
So he's not just some random immortal. He's part of the spiritual power structure that's fighting for the future of the whole celestial order.
Exactly, and his own lineage goes right to the very top. He's a direct disciple of Yuanqi Tanzin, living at the Jade Void Palace on Kunlun Mountain. You just can't get a better spiritual pedigree than that.
And his peers. The source mentions he's a fellow disciple of Jiang Zia. I mean, that's a central name in this whole story.
And that connection is so interesting because it shows his proximity to power. Jiang Zia is the man with the list. He's the one carrying out the actual investiture of the gods.
So Yuding Zhenren is connected to the guy running the whole post-war celestial HR department.
You could say that, but the relationship that really makes his name is the one with his student. We should probably define that clearly.
Let's do it.
So the master, Yuding Zhenren, one of the 12 Golden Immortals. The disciple, Yang Jian. And when the war against the Shang dynasty really starts to heat up, Yuding Zhenren's first move isn't to jump in himself. No, his first move is to send his perfectly trained student, Yang Jian, to go help the good guys.
He unleashes his masterpiece first. I love that. It's such a quiet confidence. It takes all the focus off the master's own glory and puts it right on the curriculum.
And that curriculum is where we really need to focus. The source material is so clear on this. Yuding Zhenren is known as the most effective instructor of all 12 immortals. He just got results others couldn't.
Why, though? What was so different about his method? The notes call his style strict, and I love this, real combat type teaching. So this wasn't theory.
Not at all. It's the difference between, say, a university lecturer and a special forces trainer. A lot of the other Golden Immortals gave their students powerful magic items, talismans, things like that, external tools.
Right.
Yuding Zhenren focused on fundamental internal cultivation. He made Yang Jian self-sufficient, almost indestructible.
So he didn't just give his student a sword. He made the student into the sword.
That's a perfect way to put it. And he gave him 2 skills that stand out above everything else. The first, the foundation, is the 9 turns arcane skill.
Okay, what does that actually mean? If I have this skill, how am I different from any other immortal?
It's the difference between relying on magic and, well, relying on your own spiritual biology. The arcane skill is about forging a spiritual body inside your physical one. It gives you unbelievable resilience. You're nearly immune to poisons, to most spiritual weapons, and you have immense physical strength. It, fundamentally rewires Yang Jian's spiritual DNA.
Which makes him uniquely dangerous in a war where so many enemies are using magical tricks and poisons.
Absolutely. Then there's the second major skill, which is often seen as part of the arcane skill, and that's the 72 transformations.
Ah, the shape-shifting. The thing everyone connects with Sun Wukong.
Yeah. That's the famous one, yes. But here, in Feng Shenyanyi, Yang Jian's mastery of it is all about tactics. He uses it to infiltrate enemy lines, to escape traps, and critically to match the transformations of his enemies, which happens all the time. It's practical application, not just showing off.
That sounds like it would be a core part of that real combat training. He wasn't just turning into a bird for fun. He was doing it to get out of a death trap.
Exactly. And the combination of these two skills leads to the ultimate result, the thing that defines Yuding Zhenren's success as a teacher. And you have to understand, this is the most critical point from the sources.
Okay.
Yang Jian achieved physical body sanctification. Rushen Shengsheng.
Let's pause on that. Why is that the ultimate prize? What does that mean for you, the listener?
It means he became a god without dying. It is the absolute peak of physical cultivation. See, at the end of the war, all these heroes and immortals who died from both sides, they get put on the Investiture list and are reborn as gods. It's a post-mortem promotion.
But not Yang Jian.
Not Yang Jian. Because of his training under Yuding Zhenren, he completely bypassed that whole system. He achieved immortality and divine power while still in his own living physical body.
Wow. So, if your student is so well trained that he doesn't even need the official god-making process, that's the ultimate mic drop for a teacher.
It's proof. Proof that his curriculum was better than just getting a fancy title. And on top of that, the source says Yang Jian was almost undefeated in the entire war. This wasn't luck. It was that fighting awareness and deep experience in breaking enemy formations that was drilled into him.
So the big aha moment from our sources is that Yuding Zhenren's fame, his legacy, it all comes from teaching his student how to reach this ultimate state. It's all about mentorship over personal glory.
Absolutely. He set the gold standard.
But we need to keep this balanced. We have to talk about his own actions. Because he wasn't just a teacher. When things got really serious, Yuding Zhenren didn't stay on Kunlun Mountain.
No, he did not. And when he did show up, his personal intervention showed just how powerful he was. He was the one they called in to solve the problems that nobody else could handle.
Let's start with those magical arrays, because those seemed like the biggest threats to the whole campaign.
He was critical in breaking the 10 ultimate array early on. That thing brought the whole war to a grinding halt, killed a bunch of key allies. Yuding Zhenren was one of the 12 immortals they needed to personally go in and dismantle it.
So he was on the front lines for that.
Absolutely. But he also took on these non-combat roles, which is kind of surprising for someone that powerful.
Like what?
He acted like a diplomat. He tried to persuade Wen Zong, who was a really powerful general on the other side, to just stop fighting. It didn't work, but it shows he was thinking strategically beyond just fighting. And he was a lifesaver for his peers. He famously rescued another immortal, Huanglong Zhenren, after he'd been captured.
Okay, but the part I find really fascinating is his role as a sort of battlefield medic. The notes say he cured a plague and later a smallpox outbreak in the army.
Yes. This is a perfect example of his practical skills. An enemy named Lu Yu was basically using biological warfare, and you can't punch a flag, right? Standard fighting skills were useless.
So he stepped in.
Yuding Zhenren's mastery of purification arts was what saved them. He didn't just fight monsters, he managed a public health crisis to keep the army on its feet.
So he's a warrior, an advisor, and a bioweapons expert.
Pretty much. But his real power, his personal power, it really shines when they have to take down the two biggest, most dangerous arrays in the whole war. The Immortal Slaying Array and the 10,000 Immortals Array.
Okay, and these were basically the spiritual weapons of mass destruction of their time.
They were. The Immortal Slaying Array was powered by 4 of the deadliest swords in existence. To break it, you needed 4 masters of equal power to go in at the same time. And Yuding Zhenren was one of those 4. He personally went up against and captured the Immortal Trapping Sword.
A weapon designed to kill immortals like him.
Exactly. So he wasn't directing from the back. He was right in the middle of the most dangerous moments of the entire war.
And he did it again in the final big battle.
He did. In the 10,000 Immortals Array, he was the one trusted to take on the Immortal Slaying Sword. And the sources list his direct combat kills, too. He killed an enemy named Zhu Tianlin. He neutralized this other guy's poison blade that was taking out their forces. He was a specialist.
He specialized in damage control and neutralizing the biggest threats.
And that expertise even extended to intelligence. The source points out that he taught Yang Jian counterespionage, how to find and get rid of a spirit that was leaking their battle plans to the enemy.
That just confirms it. It was total holistic training. Physical conditioning, strategy, medicine, even spycraft.
It's exactly why his reputation as a teacher is untouchable. He didn't just teach theory from a book, he taught survival.
Okay, so the war ends. The gods are all on the list. What happens to this amazing master and his perfect student?
Well, let's start with the student, Yang Jian. He gets his official title. He becomes the illustrious, sagely true Lord Erlang, a very powerful, recognized deity in the celestial government.
And all his famous tools and powers, they all tie directly back to his training, right? It's all just more proof of his mentor's success.
100%. His main weapon, the three-pointed double-edged blade, his divine dog, the howling celestial dog, and most importantly, his celestial eye.
The third eye.
That third eye that sees through all illusions. It isn't just a magical gift. It's a physical result of his mastery of the 9 turns arcane skill. It's a sign of his self-mastery.
Okay, so what about the master? Yuding Zhenren. He had the lineage, he was a war hero, he trained a living god. Surely he gets a top job on the investiture list.
He doesn't. His final status, according to the source, is that he just returns to Kunlun Mountain for more cultivation. King Jiu. He gets extreme renown Shengming Jigao, but he chooses a life of quiet spiritual practice over a government title.
And we're right back to the paradox we started with. His fame, his legendary status, it comes entirely from his success in teaching Yang Jian. He clearly valued that more than any official power.
And that impact was so huge that even though he's a character in a novel, the idea of the 12 Golden Immortals was so powerful that Yuding Zhenren got absorbed into the actual Taoist pantheon. There are Taoist temples today where he's worshipped.
That's incredible. He didn't need the official stamp of approval from the story. The power of his own narrative. The teacher who created the ultimate student, it literally broke out of the book and into the real world.
That's his legacy. The sources show us that maybe the most powerful kind of recognition isn't a title, it's the effectiveness of what you leave behind. He's the coach whose value is measured by the unbelievable MVP he produced.
Which makes you think about the value system here. You have Yang Jian, who gets the official title. He's the illustrious, sagely true Lord Erlang. And then you have Yuding Zhenren, who gets all the respect but just goes back to his mountain to continue his personal cultivation.
So what does that comparison tell you about what true success is in this worldview? Is achieving physical body sanctification, mastering yourself, and becoming a living god actually a higher achievement than getting a promotion in the celestial bureaucracy?
It suggests true mastery isn't about the job title you get in the afterlife, but the sovereignty you achieve in life. And that is definitely something for you to chew on.
Indeed. Mastery is often quiet.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.